This is the Traxxas Summit. Just arrived today, and we're going to be taking a look at it. Feature radio, and it's the multi-channel radio for high and low. This is just a brand new toy for the Lant RC YouTube channel. I did go in and remove all the styrofoam already because you don't want to hear that, and neither did I. So as you remove it out of the box, obviously you can tell that it's not quite as high as normal. A lot of you that have anything to do with the Summit or have seen any video on YouTube ever, you'll know that the suspension is locked in the compressed position simply because the box would be so much bigger if you didn't. So, as you can see, just like every other Traxxas model, you're going to have the body that is covered by a clear plastic protection kind of bag, and so you remove that and then you get your first glance at the body and everything that it has. And no, there are no lights on the bar up here, but you can get an upgrade kit from Traxxas website that allows you to install LEDs there as well. Now as far as the inside goes, you'll see here on the inside there's a zip tie here in the back and then the zip tie up here in the front. Those are the two zip ties you will cut in order to get the suspension to release. So, if you will give me just a moment, I'm going to cut those real quick. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now we have removed the two zip ties that were originally holding the chassis down in the compressed position, the suspension into compression. Now you can see that it sits a lot higher and it has a whole lot more dampening than it did when it was just fully compressed. So that's definitely a big upgrade immediately out of the box. So here we'll remove this little tag, just kind of gives you the warnings about the batteries. Two leads here because it requires two batteries in order to run it. And so you can see this is our bag of goodies. And it's got a catalog and all that good stuff in there. You've got some different tools that are required on this machine. It's also just optional if you end up doing work on it that requires you to have those. So I'll set that off to the side as well. But here you can see all the different servos and the workings in here. Now this servo here is the one that I believe this controls the front diff locking mechanism. And then you have one right here. This controls, this front servo, the blue one here, controls the rear diff, and you can have, I can't remember exactly if it's the front only and then both. I think that's what it is, but it's just a 3-position switch. So you can have both or just one differential front or rear locked, or of course neither of them on the 3-position switch. And then of course this servo here on the bottom there toward the back, that will control your 2-speed transmission because this has a low and a high gear. Also, you can see here there's 2 big servos on that. That's actually your steering servos. They're down here and they are the 2075 Traxxas steering servos, so they're pretty beefy. Pretty beefy. That's what I was looking to put on the Emax. Of course, it comes standard with the Titan 775 motor. A lot of people like to switch that out for 2 550s. In my case, eventually I will be pulling the Mamba Monster system off of my Emax and putting it on this just for some brushless fun. Now, as you can see here, there's Traxxas connectors on it, which you should expect if you buy this, but everything I have is XT60. So the plan is I'm going to snip these connectors off and I'm going to replace them with XT60 yellow connectors because that is what every battery I own has on it. So that's just what I've got to do. But other than that, everything else is going to be the way it comes for a little while. I do have my Spectrum remote. Then I plan on putting a Spectrum in this, but I have to make sure I can control the different functions that you get with the Summit in order to allow it to run properly. Now these wheels are extremely massive. They're actually a heck of a lot bigger than I thought they were going to be, but I expected big wheels. And you can see on the chassis. It's just like the e-Revo, just a big chasm in the side, like a battery cave, the Bat Cave. Hey, I call it something new. It's gonna catch on. It's got LED lights in the front. There's 2 LED lights for the front bumper, as well as 2 LED lights. I say that. Actually, there's 6 LED lights, red LEDs for the back. Just give you a little bit of character there as you run your machine around. And so it is quite a monster. So that's pretty much all I have to say about it here. As far as the unboxing goes, you've seen how it comes out of the box, other than the styrofoam. So we are going to get the batteries ready to go. I'm going to have to go solder the XT60s on this, and then we'll be ready to run it. And that, my friends, is the Traxxas Summit. That's pretty cool. Is it worth $500? Well, that's a sale price. It's normally $550 some odd whatever, or even higher price than that. But it is lower than it used to be, which is why it's sitting on my table now. I think it definitely depends on what style of driving you want to do with it. If you're a basher at heart, like I kind of am, crawling is not really your thing, then this might not be the rig for you, because everything about it is low geared. Even its high gear is in low gear. So you're gonna have a lot more fun with something more powerful and faster. Now, as I said before, there's a good chance that I'm going to put the Mamba Monster system in this, and that most likely will beef it up a little bit as far as the bashing goes. But if you look to do any kind of real crawling with it, you don't want to, in my opinion, it's not a good idea to put a brushless power system in a crawler. You can, and it will work, especially with something like this where everything's low geared and controlled besides the motor. However, this motor here is going to bring up so much more power on the low end of the RPM range that you're definitely going to want to keep this system the way it is if you do crawling with it. However, if you want to do some bashing, that is a good way to increase the amount of fun you can have with it. just by simply adding more power and speed through the motors through it. However, you will have to keep in mind that the more power and speed you put through the transmission, the more wear and tear and the more likely it is to break it. It will strip your gears. So, you know, proceed with caution. If you want to get this just to tinker with it, kind of like I did, feel free to do so. $500 is a pretty steep price, but it is a big rig. This is a somewhat smaller kitchen dining room table, but it takes up about half of it. So it is a huge machine, and you know, get it if you want it. I would recommend it only if you like bashing and crawling, which I like it. I've never had anything to do crawling with, but I definitely was putting it through its paces, trying to get it to crawl up the stairs out there, which you didn't see the rest of it on video. I didn't record it, but I did get halfway up the steps. It just took a lot of finagling and really working hard at steering and low gear and differentials. But all in all, it is a very fun vehicle, and I would recommend getting it if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of that fast speed kind of bashing. So, other than that, enough said. Hope you guys enjoy.